All right, welcome back, guys. Today is Wednesday, January 22nd, and today we are getting into the college football playoff recap. As always, please like, subscribe, put on push notifications so you stay up to date when the videos come out. Helps me out a lot. As you can see in the banner below, we have 4 great partnerships, as always, with Betr, Vivid, Dabble, and one Parlay. Dabble's promo code, or promo, use my code Bonfire. For the free $25, it expires Saturday night. So get that in. You get free $25. No deposit necessary just by signing up with my code. So if you do anything today, make sure you just take a second as you're watching the video, download Dabble, sign up using my code Bonfire, and just get the free $25. Like I said, the promo's going away on Saturday with the end of football kind of coming to an end. A lot of the companies are kind of turning off some of the promotions, changing them up. So make sure you kind of lock in all the free plays that you can get using my code Bonfire right now. And as always, we have the VIP picks, free picks every day for you guys over on Winnable, and the free, always free sports betting community, Betr Bonfire. So let's get into the recap. So Notre Dame, Ohio State won. From the game that they played Tennessee, they looked extremely dominant. Both teams had a great playoff run. I think overall, the college football playoff did exactly what it's supposed to do. Since NIL came out and the transfer portal, there's way more parity in the league. And I knew that coming in because prior it was the SEC dominating everything. They were the ones paying the players. Everyone in the SEC likes to turn their head and act like it didn't happen. Clearly it was going on. Everyone knew it, but now that all the teams can pay their players, they can get these transfer guys and reset a whole team in the off season. It's great. Miami was able to do it with Cam Ward. Obviously, they weren't able to make a push in the playoffs because they lost at the end of the season. But it allows these other teams to kind of, reset, regroup, rebuild much quicker, especially to like an Indiana team. Great example. They got Signetti out of JMU. He brings over a ton of transfer players, and they go on a run. Now, I know people didn't think Indiana deserved to be in it. SMU didn't deserve to be in it. They're just wrong. This whole point, people were talking about wins don't matter, is the stupidest thing for the sport, and it's just the brain rot that college football fans have. You need to play your schedule. You play the games that you need to win the games that you play. Some people are also saying, well, Notre Dame lost an early game and Ohio State lost 2 games that should have kept them out. No. The whole point of a playoff is you get the best teams and you have them play in a playoff and you get, a good group. Prior to this, which is the top 2 teams. This isn't soccer. I know in soccer, it's just whoever wins the regular season wins the championship, and then they have their separate Champions League. This is football. This is how we play all of our sports. Play the regular season. The regular season matters for seedings. Now, in that aspect, I do think that they should change the format for the buys. I don't think it should be, you win your conference, the top 4 conference winners get a bye. I think that's why some of the games were strange and were blowouts when they shouldn't have been blowouts, because you had, Texas Clemson, good game. But even so, the top 4 probably should have gone Oregon. Then I think it probably would have been, gone Oregon, Georgia. Where's Georgia? Oregon, Georgia. Then probably Texas, Penn State would probably most likely have been the top 4 teams based off of Boise State and Arizona getting a bye. Again, Arizona had a great season. I thought what Dillingham has done there has been phenomenal. But I think like I said, the college football playoff overall did exactly what it was supposed to do. And we didn't have to deal with, we still dealt with people complaining that Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Bama weren't in it. Because again, it's SEC brain rot, where people don't understand that losing to 6-6 teams for your 3rd loss shouldn't matter. That should. And then they're like, well, we're going to play easier schedules. Like, you guys lost to the teams in your conference. If anything, you should be playing stronger conferences or stronger off-season or out-of-conference seasons instead of having 2 non-conference games. Or they're playing like FCS teams. I went to UMass. They hire UMass to come in, beat the brakes off of them, and they send them back, send us a check. It's great. But that's part of it. And I know different people have talked about, kind of getting a formal body across the league, kind of managing everything. I think it's smart. I think with the refs for each conference is kind of strange. There's not really much clarity on how the different conferences should align their schedules. A lot of people think that Notre Dame should go into a conference. I don't. But I do think that across the board there should be, hey, let's all play the same number of games. If you want one FCS game a year, sure. There should be some continuity with how the scheduling is made. I think a great option would be make it similar to kind of college basketball where, like I was saying, if you win your conference, I think you should get in. Again, the 5 auto bids I think is smart because Boise State played Penn State a lot closer than people think. They wouldn't have gotten in if they hadn't won that. I think winning a conference should matter. Clemson wouldn't have gotten in, and I'm glad that they did. But similar to college basketball, just because you win your conference doesn't mean you get a top 4 seed. You win your conference, you get in an auto bid, but then the seeding is just taking the auto bids plus the 7 wild cards and ranking them against each other. So most likely, like I said, it probably would have gone Oregon, Georgia, then Texas, Penn State would have been in the top 4. Then based off of this, it most likely would have, the 6th team would have been probably Notre Dame, or the 5th team would have been Notre Dame, then Tennessee, or then Ohio State, then most likely Arizona. No, then Tennessee after Ohio State, then Arizona, then Indiana, then Boise State, Clemson. But also similar to what college basketball does, one of the best things of college basketball is they have the SEC versus ACC, the Big Ten versus ACC matchups. I think that would be great. You have every so now there's 4 conferences. You have every year. You rotate, who the conference plays against. You have SEC versus, ACC first year. Then you have SEC versus Big Ten, and then ACC and Big 12. And just kind of rotate through there. I think it'd be good. I think it also helps to get eyeballs across to different teams that you wouldn't normally see, you wouldn't normally play. And it's always just it's like not rivalry week, but, cross-division rivalry games that you could start creating. I think that would be great. And I also, too, because it is strange how, the ADs make the schedules. So that's always a problem with, okay, do you make your schedule harder? Do you make it stronger? If you get a governing body with, 4 or 5 people, now I know we love creative committees. They don't usually work that well. But you get a governing body that presides over, says, hey, each team has to play 10 games. You're going to do 9 conference, 1 FCS, 2 buys or whatever, and set it up equally. Going off that, people will say, well, Notre Dame's not in a conference. They're not, but they also played some of the strongest teams, and they have some of the hardest schedules. They play USC every year, which on paper it should be good. They just haven't been good. They play pretty much almost like a half Big Ten schedule. They play BC every year. BC will be much better with Bill O'Brien. So I think that's, where it is going. I think college football is in a great spot. I know a lot of people talked about, too, moving the championship up to, there's different ideas. Some said it should be the Rose Bowl every year. I don't agree with that. I like the rotating bowls. It's what the NFL does, too, does what college basketball does. You don't want it stagnant, so it's the same thing every year. I like the rotation of the different bowls for the championship. But I think now that they have a playoff, it wouldn't hurt to I know the NFL doesn't like, aligning with others, but if instead of the NFL playing, Saturday, Sunday for this past week, if you put the college football championship Saturday night, and then because it's MLK, and I don't know if it falls every year, but if it's MLK weekend, then you can go 2 Sunday games, 2 Monday games, college football championship on that Saturday, and that's great. I know other people talked about, too, moving up the Army-Navy game because the Army-Navy game plays, it's always isolated. What if instead they had that at the beginning of the season? I wouldn't hate that. I know a lot of people might not like it because of tradition. I think no matter what, the Army-Navy game has to stand alone and have its own day. Because I think even this year they started putting other bowl games on it, which I don't like. I think it should be, a day for the country. It's either kind of wraps up the regular season or it kicks off the season. I think it could be cool having it, you have the two top military schools going at it, kick off the season. I think that would be really cool for college football, and then you could pull in the playoffs a week earlier. It's also an option. So there's different ideas being floated around, but I do think that the 12 teams is perfect. I don't think that there should be more. I think top 4 teams should get the byes. They worked hard. I think they should get the byes. I think the problem, especially too with college basketball, they're talking about 72 teams, 76. At some point, you have to just stop. And I think this year was a good cutoff. I mean, you had the 7 seed versus the 8 seed in the championship. If they'd gotten rid of if they took out the top 4 auto bids getting the byes, then it most likely they would have been the 5 and 6 seeds winning, which is great. And I think, too, as we kind of reiterate on this, change it up, fine-tune it, we will get into a great spot where we have a strong playoff. I think it would be good if the NFL could kind of help the scheduling and kind of align with college football, because it is great when there's multiple games. Like the first couple of weeks, there's multiple games on for NFL and college, but you kind of do want the semifinals, the championship, them separately. So that's kind of how I view it. Again, congrats to Ohio State. It was a great game. I mean, ever since they played Tennessee, they looked dominant. And the college football playoff worked out well. Anyone telling you it didn't, they're probably an SEC fan and just mad, or they're extremely old and just want 2 undefeated teams, which I don't get. I mean, if it was just the top 2 teams, it would have been Oregon, Georgia, and it's just the same old thing. Now we're getting more eyeballs, more schools involved. There's more money being moved around, so I think it worked out great. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, what your ideas on moving the Army-Navy game up, keeping it back, realigning some of the playoffs, because I'm curious what you guys think, and I appreciate it. Again, throughout the week, we have more NBA picks. Also be previewing the AFC Championship, NFC Championship. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, put on notifications, and as always, let me know in the comments what you guys think and where you guys see the playoff going next year. Thank you. Have a good one.